Regular meeting in Clear Lake City Council of Monday, October 19, 2020 shall come to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Motion to approve the agenda, please.
Second.
Moved by Dana, seconded by Mike, that we approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. To the consent agenda, you have a copy of the minutes of October 5th, 2020. We need approval of the bills and claims, of which you also have a copy. We have a tax abatement with Jennifer Moore, 1001 Pine Brook Court. And we have the following licenses and permits: a liquor license, Class B, wine permit, WB, for Simply Nourished, and that's a renewal. Motion, please.
So moved.
Moved by Gary, seconded by Dana, that we approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now is the time and place for anyone in the audience who wishes to address the council on any issue or concern. Please approach the podium, state your name first and last, and give your address so the clerk can properly enter in the minutes. This is not a discussion time, nor is it a question and answer time, and you have 3 to 5 minutes. None appearing, and move on to unfinished business, of which we have none. We'll go to number 6, new business. 6A, East Main Avenue Street Reconstruction Project, project update and review of pay estimate number 3, Jason Petersburg with Vinstra and Kim. Welcome, Jason.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. There are 2 items on your agenda tonight under the East Main Avenue Street reconstruction. The first is approval of pay estimate number 3, and the second is approval of change order number 3. I'll start with an update on the project. Today, the utility crews wrapped up the sanitary sewer main work, so the only utility work remaining to be completed right now is there's 11 sewer services that'll be wrapped up yet this week if the weather cooperates. Wicks showed up today. They started getting ready to pave. They're setting their pins and string lines. They're going to be shaping that from 16th to 20th the rest of this week. Tentative plan is to pave half width from 20th to 16th, starting with the south half Monday or Tuesday of next week, and then follow with the other half the following week. Right now we're looking at the weather forecast. The cold temperatures may change that slightly, but there will be a window in there next week to get that done. It's just the earlier in the week we can do it, the better. That'll allow them to get more of the intersection work complete when they're there as well. Also next week, Cole Excavating will be back on site, finishing the rest of the road from 15th Street to 14th Street, the rest of the excavation for the roadway and the rock base. So in a couple of weeks, we'll have a better handle as far as how far they're going to push the concrete paving. Like I say, for now they're setting up to pave from 16th to 20th. If the forecast looks good beyond that, once they get done with 16th to 20th, they may look at doing concrete paving all the way up to 14th Street this year, which will eliminate some of the temporary asphalt paving. Pay estimate 3 in your packets is for work completed in September, primarily the water, sewer, and storm sewer work. With this pay estimate, it takes the project to 38% complete. Net amount due for pay estimate 3 after subtracting pay estimate 1 and 2 and the retainage is $225,785.22. B&K recommends payment to Wicks Construction on that item. And then change order 3 in your packets. A few weeks ago, city staff requested that we look at some intersections adjacent to the East Main Avenue project, specifically the intersection of North 12th and Main, as well as North 12th and 2nd Avenue. The asphalt surface is falling apart on both of those, and staff was inquiring about getting some asphalt patching done, since the asphalt subcontractor will be on site doing some asphalt paving regardless this year from 13th to 14th. We looked at that and we recommended that if you're gonna do the patching at Main and 12th, that there's storm sewer that's planned there as part of the next phase of the project, that storm sewer be installed before the patching. Pricing was received for the patching and storm sewer work. Like I said, the storm sewer would have been done with the next phase of East Main if it's not done now. Total price received for the additional work is $44,394.90. Timing-wise, the plan would be to complete the 2-inch thick asphalt patching at the same time that they're there doing the rest of the asphalt work on the project. And that's assuming that we can get the 2 extra storm sewer structures ordered and delivered in time. I'll note that with the current plan of permanent reconstruction with the concrete paving of East Main from 16th to 20th, we're looking at savings of approximately $50,000 in temporary asphalt, so the savings are a little more than what this additional work here would cost. With that, we'd recommend approval of change order number 3, adding the additional storm sewer and asphalt work to the project. Any questions?
On change order number 3, those are the stormwater at 12th and Main, correct?
Correct.
And those are new or reconstructed?
There'll be
old?
new intakes on the north side of the intersection, so they'll actually be on 12th Street, catching the water that comes from the north to the south down 12th Street, but right at the intersection.
And that'll go across Main, intersect with that new
Yep.
that we came down, okay. All right, that's good timing on that to get that
Yep.
completed now also. Just a word, since we're there, and I might forget it when I get to my point, but what's trick or treat, the 31st, Chief, is that right, the 31st? With that construction going on there, I certainly would recommend that parents and little children not go through that area. Is that your recommendation?
Correct, and there's several of the property owners have inquired on that, so we'll pay attention as we get closer. There'll probably be some more gravel ramps put in and stuff to accommodate some of the foot traffic, because we can say don't go there, but there's still gonna be some people there, so we're gonna safety it up the best we can before trick or treat.
Yeah, I think use good common sense there, and which would mean stay out of the area, probably. There's always a lot of people, reason I bring that up, I think that's the main area of trick or treating is Main Street, and they get a lot of kids through there. So. Any other questions, comments for Jason, Council? Thank you. Therefore, entertain a motion to approve pay estimate number 1 with regard to East Main Avenue Street reconstruction project to Wicks Construction Decora in the amount of $225,785.22. Motion, please.
So offered.
Second.
Moved by Mike, seconded by Gary, that we approve pay estimate number 3. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. And now to change order number 3, which is in the amount of $44,394.90, and that's those stormwater intakes we were just talking about. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Bennett, seconded by Dana, that we approve change order number 3 on the East Main Avenue Street reconstruction project. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. 6B, South Shore Drive Street surface patching review. Mr. Flory, welcome, Scott.
Yep, thank you, Mayor, Council. The tan sheets in your packet, just refer to those as a proposal that we received from Heartland Asphalt, and that is for patching, surface patching work that would be done on South Shore Drive from 1st Avenue South to 12th Avenue South. And the total cost of the proposal submitted by Heartland was $19,702.40. Heartland is going to deduct 50% of that total cost to the city for what we consider to be premature failure of the surface mat area in the areas that would be repaired. And you can see on the next sheets the specific areas between the street segments that would be milled and resurfaced. So again, this is something that was done back in, I think it was 2008 when we did the South Shore Drive project. So we've gotten about 12 years out of that. But again, we had a conversation with Heartland and indicated to them that we thought some of these areas were failing prematurely. So they stepped up and agreed that they would offset a portion of that cost, so 50% of the cost, splitting that with the city to make these necessary repairs. They indicate that the construction work would be completed in about a day, and they would tentatively plan on having that done at the end of this month. So, talked about it with Jason and Jeremy, and we all seem to think it was a pretty fair proposal. If you've driven that stretch much, you know that those bad spots are kind of right in the sweet spot of where you drive, so you feel it on the wheels of the car when you're driving. So we think it'd be a pretty good time for us to do that. I think it'd be a good partnership to do that. So I don't know if anybody has any questions there.
Council, any questions for Scott? I think this appears to be a good partnership.
Very nice, I think, of Heartland to step up and share that cost with us. Just be a maintenance, come out of our maintenance line item budget. So I think it'd be a good partnership.
Those areas are in need.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Therefore, I entertain a motion to approve proposal from Heartland Asphalt in the amount of, with regard to South Shore Drive Street surface patching in the amount of $9,852.40. That's the city's portion. Motion, please.
Second.
Moved by Dana, seconded by Mark, that we approve the proposal from Heartland Asphalt with regard to the South Shore Drive Street resurface or surface patching. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Thank you. 6C, East Main Avenue Street Reconstruction Project, 8th Street to South 14th Street. Intro, Mr. Flory.
Thanks, Mayor. The white sheets in your packet, Council, are a proposed professional services agreement with the city and Veenster and Kim. If you recall, East Main Avenue reconstruction has been a project that's been going on for several years now. The city back in 2004 had reconstructed a portion from South 24th Street to about 800 feet east of the I-35 overpass. The next phase that was done was in 2017, and that was the portion between 20th and 24th Street. The city's now, of course, currently reconstructing that portion of East Main Avenue between North 14th Street and North 20th Streets. This project would be very similar in scope to those other phases of East Main Avenue, including roadway paving, water main, sanitary sewer main, service lateral, storm sewer, street lighting, driveway improvements, sidewalks, and ADA compliant curb ramps. The preliminary estimated cost of the improvements is roughly $2.2 million. If you recall, this is one of those projects that, similar to one other phase that we have been allocated federal funding for, so we're getting some DOT funding for this portion of the project. So just like with the other projects that we get involved with the DOT, their timeline is kind of determinative of when we put our milestones together for various tasks associated with the project. So we anticipate topographical survey beginning now, essentially, and that would be complete this fall and winter. Project bid letting, we anticipate probably in December of 2021, and then construction, just like some of these other phases, would revolve around the 4th of July, so it would begin after the 4th of July of 2022, and then the anticipated project completion date is 2023. In the engineering services proposal, Jason can go over that and answer any questions if you have on that. You'll note it's on page 3-1. That outlines the scope of services. You'll note the preliminary engineering services are included, design services, right-of-way and easement acquisition services. Of course, be a special assessment project, so there'll be work for special assessment plat associated with that. and then monument preservation services are all included in this aspect of the professional services agreement. So in total, that is not to exceed $155,100 for all of those services included in that professional services agreement proposal. So I don't know if anyone has any questions of me before Jason reviews the proposal.
Council, any questions for Scott? Scott? Review of proposed professional services agreement. Mr. Petersburg.
Mayor, Council, as Scott indicated, this next phase from 8th to 14th of East Main Avenue street reconstruction will be very similar to what the city has done in the past and is currently doing right now. New 43-foot wide concrete roadway, include 2 travel lanes, 2 bike lanes, and parking on one side only. Also similar to the past projects, it'll include upgrades to sanitary sewer, water main, services for both of those as well, storm sewer, subdrain, and then new street lighting and sidewalks will also be installed as part of the project. The project is included in the DOT's plan for their SWAP surface transportation block grant funding. The amount of money from the federal funds is $1 million on this project, so just about 50% of the construction cost. To get the funding, the project needs to be bid between October of '21 and September of '22. And there's several other milestones that the DOT has called out as well that we have to meet. The project schedule calls for us to be bid in December of '21, construction taking place in the year 2022 and 2023. Like Scott said, total compensation for all the pre-construction services, including the preliminary engineering, final design, right-of-way and easement acquisition services, special assessment services, and the monument preservation is $155,100. With that, are there any questions on the project or the engineering agreement?
Council, any questions for Jason with regard to the professional services agreement?
I've got a question about the project. It's probably an obvious one, but unless I ask it, I won't know for sure. I'm guessing that, like from 20th to 24th Street, there will be no parking on the north side of the street, and the bike lane will be outside the parking area on the south side of the street. Okay, so it'll just be a continuation of what we've already done. Yeah.
There has been discussion about changing that as we get closer to 8th Street, but that's a decision that can be made at a later date. As far as if we want to drop that bike lane prior to 8th Street and add parking on both sides, since there's more businesses there that could utilize the parking.
Yeah, I'm saying that 800 block, we thought to take that into consideration, so it might be that there'll be the dual bike lane all the way down to 9th Street, and then they can share the road.
Okay.
Any other questions, Council? Thank you, Jason. Entertain a motion to approve professional services agreement with Veenstra and Kim, Mason City, Iowa, with regard to the East Main Avenue Street reconstruction project, and that'll be from 8th Street to South 14th Street, and it's in the amount of not to exceed $155,100.
So offered.
Second.
Moved by Mike, seconded by Dana, that we approve the professional services agreement with V&K. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Thank you. 6D, appointment of Jeremy Kornberg as the interim Public Works Director. Review, Mr. Flory.
Thank you, Mayor. In the packet, the purple sheets address this item. It's a similar agreement you've seen before with other interim appointments. We use this for police chief on one other occasion prior to Mr. Roth coming here, and then, oh gosh, who was the other, oh, water superintendent. We used an interim agreement for that. So same kind of situation here. This would be an interim appointment of Jeremy Kornberg as interim public works director effective October 19th. Would be effective until the agreement would be terminated, which would be, of course, by appointment of a permanent public works director. So it provides for increase in compensation of 10% of his base rate, which is currently $35.45 an hour. So it's about a $3.50 an hour increase in his base pay. I think Jeremy's been with us almost 3 years, and you know, he's got a good knowledge of the operations. Obviously, his title now is Operations and Maintenance Superintendent, so he's got a good knowledge of the operations and maintenance portion of the public works responsibility. Got a good handle with some of the projects that we've gotten going on now and going into the winter. So I think it'd be a good continuity to keep him in this role in this interim period, and it gives us the opportunity to sort of take our time. Obviously, we're heading into the winter months, and be able to take our time with the search process for the permanent public works director position. So I don't know if anyone has any questions. I'd be happy to answer those.
Council, any questions for Scott?
Do you have a map or an outline of how you might approach the timeline on the search process?
Yep, not during the winter. Clear Lake shows its best usually during the spring. I remember a few occasions of it. Mike's been here obviously a long time, but anyone that's been here for many Clear Lake winters, that's maybe not the best time to bring candidates in from out of town. So the winters can be a little brutal here. So probably start our process maybe in January, and take resumes January, February time frame, and probably conduct interviews maybe in March, and maybe target a permanent person being in that role probably April.
Well, if you just take candidates from the Iron Range,
Yeah.
they'd think they were coming to Florida.
I still remember one time we had a candidate for one position, and the young gentleman brought his wife, and it turned out to be one of the most brutally cold days of the year. They were from southern Indiana, and they couldn't wait to get back to the car. It was that cold. It was one of those days where the wind chill was about 30 below zero. I tried to convince him that it wasn't like that all the time, but didn't work.
Any other questions, council? Scott? Thank you, Scott. Therefore, entertain a motion to approve an employment agreement with Jeremy Kornberg as the interim Public Works Director. Motion, please.
Second.
Moved by Bennett, seconded by Dana, that we approve the employment agreement with Jeremy Kornberg. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Thank you. Street lighting, Courtway Park subdivision, review of competitive quotes and recommendation to award project. Mr. Flory.
Thanks, Mayor. If you recall from a meeting ago, the council had authorized seeking competitive sealed quotes for upgraded street lighting out of Courtway Park subdivision. If you remember, the developer had agreed to pay for the basic standard fixture that Alliant usually puts in, so we'd apply that cost to the upgraded street lighting purchase. So we had a total of 9 upgraded streetlight fixtures that'd be installed along Starboard Drive and Bayou Road that we took quotes on. Rest of the subdivision, of course, will have the standard Alliant pole fixtures out there. So we did, in your packet, you'll see orange sheet there is a bid synopsis from Jason Petersburg. We did get 2 proposals. Lowest cost proposal was submitted by Hunt Electric from here in Clear Lake in the amount of $54,896.44. Just would note that the completion date for the wiring and bases is mid-November, and we anticipated maybe a 4 to 5 week lead time for the light fixtures themselves. So we put a completion date by the end of December, but could be quite a bit sooner than that too. So again, we've done work with Hunt quite a bit, so we've got a good working relationship with him. You note that it was 8.5% below what we had estimated the cost for the project to be. And then again, with beginning about, I think it's about $10,000 from the developer to apply towards the cost of that. So again, the bid from Hunt was $54,896.44, and we'd recommend approval.
Council, any questions for Scott? Thank you, Scott. Therefore, entertain a motion to award the contract with regard to the street lighting, excuse me, Courtway Park subdivision to Hunt Electric in the amount of $54,896.44. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Gary, seconded by Dana, that we approve the contract with Hunt Electric. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Thank you. Chief Roth, report. Welcome, Chief.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Not much to report from us. In your back of your packet, the blue sheet is our September 2020 statistics that we have laid out for you. Other than that, we have nothing really to report unless you have any questions from us.
Chief, quick question. How are new radios working?
They are fantastic. Of course, it's not a magic pill. There are still some dead areas, but we were just working out some kinks, but the reception is great. I know the fire department's going to be online hopefully this week, and we've been able to, well, we were talking down by Nashua on a portable up here, and I know Captain Colby was down in Ankeny delivering some stuff to the lab, and he was able to actually talk to our dispatcher from a portable to our dispatch center from Ankeny. So before we couldn't talk to Ventura and back, now we're able to go out a lot farther, but it has really been a great addition to the public safety service here, and just now to get to incorporate the fire departments, both Ventura and Clear Lake on that, and that's our next step. So still some growing pains. It's only been about 2 weeks, but the digital voice from the analog voice has been great too. So
I mean, safety improvement, right, with regard to the officers to be able to do that. And I can remember that one time not too long ago when just get over to Ventura at a certain spot and no contact at all between.
Right.
So.
How has the hybrid treated your guys and gals?
Well, you're going to spoil our article that will come out in the newsletter, but it's been great. There's been some great cost-saving measures in there, about $1,600 a year, so it'll probably pay for itself here over the life of the vehicle. We have our deliver our second one is over there now, and it has been a fantastic fit for our department. Again, I just submitted our November newsletter article, and they'll talk about the hybrids and stuff. So we've been very the officers love it, great space in it, and again, just a great fit for the department. So.
Well, usually the viewership on this isn't that great, so we might not have a big spoiler alert there.
So with the carbon emissions that will happen, and of course the $1,600 savings, and that's with low gas prices. When the gas prices go up, the savings even go up even further. And with the new body style, with the interior and exterior changes to that, more room, more storage area. It's a pursuit rated vehicle. It's all-wheel drive. Again, number 2, Unit 41 came in, and we're just waiting to get it striped up and outfitted, and we'll have two on the street. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
And we have a couple of position openings still?
Yeah, just the police officer position. So that closed last week, but we have to wait for the mail to kind of catch up with us. So Captain Colby is actually compiling those, and interviews will start immediately, and then we'll go from there.
And new position of investigators going well? And
Correct. Investigator Lopez has been in that position since January. A lot of high-profile cases that she's worked. Some great arrests and charges and investigations going on there. She actually will be over in Sioux City tomorrow working on a federal case that came out of our area. So she's been very busy since she's been in there since January full-time. So.
I guess so. That's something.
I do want to remind the council that we do get a grant for that, so some of her position is augmented by a grant that the Mason City Task Force helps us with. So about $1,400 a month come back to the city for her salary. So it's not like it's, you know, supported by some other monies too, not just by the Clear Lake taxpayers, so.
And we're in rearrangement of office.
Yeah, so with
To-
the promotion, we have to put 3 lieutenants in one big office, and we have to reassign Captain Colby to an office, which would be the old squad room now. So we're waiting for some furniture to come in for that, and we do appreciate that. And then we'll, if you haven't been over there yet, we've kind of rearranged our roll call room to be a squad room / roll call room. So the officers will work out of that area. And so we're just actually waiting for the furniture to come in so we can start the final movement of people around there, so.
So there'll be a relocation of treats.
The treats will probably stay where they're at, where the officers are at, that's where those probably stay, so.
Good. Any other questions for Chief? Thanks,
Thank
Chief.
you.
Appreciate that. Before I call on Mr. Schreck here in the mayor's report, I do want to go back to that trick or treat, which is October 31st, and it's from 5 to 7:30. Is that right, Chief? 5 to 7, and according to Park and Rec, there will be a parade, but no one will be coming inside here. That will all be set up outside, and then they'll walk down Main Street to City Park, and the certain stations they'll be able to pick up their treats. That's my understanding. Yeah. So it's well organized with, shall we say, social distancing, and certainly the masking will probably already be there of some sort, and yeah, well done. And I think that, as we said earlier, on the part of Main Street that's being reconstructed, to stay away from that, if they would, please, for their own safety. Okay. Great.
When candy's involved, though, all bets are off, that's what we say.
Yeah, I'll bet. That's good. I heard one, we talked about this before, but today there's even been a couple of other increases, and that is that Mike Ritter, our building supervisor, indicated to me that we are now up to 29 new homes that have been built or are being built during this calendar year. And that's the most that, certainly in my term, that we've had here. Just great news that for the city. Mr. Schreck, welcome. I do want to say before you speak that the video of North Iowa Vision is put out, and obviously that you are in, and others, that's well done. I'm impressed with that. I happened to see it even, what was it, like KCCI had that on as well.
Yeah, it's through a partnership with Iowa Economic Development Authority, and so they ran it through KCCI's channels, and I should have gotten the numbers for you, but something like 50,000 views, and really good reach. The numbers, traffic generated to our local websites went up dramatically, and so it served its purpose, and we're going to be, again, using that and breaking it into smaller chunks, and doing some 15 and 30-second video ads through different networks and targeting different areas, especially around the Midwest, Minneapolis, Chicago, some of those types of areas. We actually, that's one of the things I'll touch on while we're talking about it. We did the RFP process, and I think last meeting, Stacy talked about it a little bit because she's on that committee. But they did get a couple RFPs back, and it was kind of all over the map. We had, I think, anything from $10,000 to $90,000 on what a marketing campaign could run. So we're pulling the group together to kind of talk through that. What kind of approach do we want to take, right? We don't have a $90,000 budget for this right now, but if we had had to get there. If we thought that was worth it, maybe we could raise it, we'll see. So they're gonna work through that committee. It's, again, the Chambers of Commerce, our group, folks from NIAC, Visit Mason City, just talking through what is the right approach, what's gonna get us the most bang for our buck. So that original program that we did that video on, I think that video was maybe 3,000 to 4,000. So I think that was a very good cost to benefit that we got out of it. And again, we're gonna continue using that. We got a ton of video footage in addition to that we can put together in a bunch of different variations. So appreciate that. I'm glad it turned out very well. I know the chamber has already used some things to some of the video clips just to put together some short things for themselves, and all of the partners can pull from that. We're trying to put together kind of a central repository of some video and photo stuff that we can all use and do some cross-pollination on our marketing just to get a little bit stronger at that. Because as we're building all these houses, we're building these apartments, we're getting these jobs coming in, we still need people. So we need them to know we're here. And you guys know it, we all know, we're kind of too good of a secret, and we need to get our word out there a little bit better and keep on getting people. Like Scott said, I'll vouch for his recruiting philosophy. I think I got my first visit up here was in September, and I started in November, and it was starting to get kind of cold. And then I moved my family here in January, and they're like, "What did you do to us?" What the heck? But then we went to the Kite Festival shortly after they got here, and they all loved it, and hearts were warmed, right? So it's you got to get people's foot in the door so they understand the full package of what we have to offer, though, and you can get through these harsh winters a little bit. So a few other things. We are down to 5.9% unemployment as of the last reports. I think that's from August, so I'm hoping for an update for last month here and continues that trend go in the right direction, so that's been really positive. Been working with a lot of local businesses. It's been interesting. So most of the office-based businesses have been work from home or remote, a lot of them, and we've had a few coming to us asking us to help them find some office space because they didn't want their office people coming in, and they're trying to keep as many people out as they can to keep manufacturing going, basically. So they've actually been looking for off-site office space. So that's kind of been an interesting thing to fill some of our empty offices. I mean, more of the 6-month, 9-month variety, but that's been an interesting thing that we're starting to see. And so we are hearing that experience that it was working to do remote. It works, but it's not as good. And when we're bringing in new people, especially working on that company culture and getting people ingrained in our philosophy and how we do work. I actually met a kid that graduated Iowa State and started a new job here in June. And they gave him the option to work from home. He said, "I don't want to. I've realized I don't know anything, and I want to be next to somebody that does." So I think that businesses are seeing that, and we do still have the fear that we'll have some empty office space, but I think we're going to start seeing that trend as COVID settles down, as we start to get this thing under control. I think we'll start to see that turn back around and be okay. It's on that note too, we've continued to see good business attraction opportunities, a lot of leads. Actually, in the last week, I think we had 4 new leads. Scott, I got one I got to talk to you about on a warehousing project. Talked to a realtor I know out of Des Moines, or site selector out of Des Moines, that's looking for about 75 acres on a large-scale warehousing project, and said I-35 would be a great place to be, right? So just talked to him today. So we got to find, and that got me thinking. We got to identify, and I showed him some stuff around here, but we don't really have a really good site identified for that, so we got to work through that a little bit. But also, a cool thing we're partnering with NIAC on in the John Papa John Center is this digital economy assessment. We met this group called the Rural Innovation Strategies, and they help to put together kind of your roadmap for how do you develop that next tech company or that startup economy. We've been trying to do it, and we've had starts and stops, but how do we get the next Kingland? How do we get the next Team Quest? And these guys really do that well, and they put together kind of a strategy for it and developing it, and they help, more importantly, on the funding side. Like, what is the federal funding look like to do things like this? What is the help that's out there? So we've had some initial meetings with them, and we're going to kind of see where the next steps lead us on that. And also we've touched on VNI marketing. Also part of that, we have our Tech Talk in that vein on October 27th. We've moved that virtual. But we're going to be talking about STEM and the workforce and how we can continue to improve that. So, any questions for me, or?
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Great report. Great report. Mr. Flory.
So
Super important, just going to mention, a few people asked about the Marriott project, so if you've been out there lately, they had, I think the first shipment or two of lumber arrived today, and they're working on the parking lot out there, so they got some steel up, so quite a bit of activity happening out there the last couple of days, so good to see that happening. And I don't think the plan is to actually do the asphalt surfacing yet this year, but things would change. Yeah. So I think they want to get the rock base down, get it established, and then have an area for the lumber to be placed on while they're doing all the framing. So should be pretty neat. I think they said they have like maybe 8 semi-loads of lumber coming in next couple of days. So should be interesting, fun to watch that going up. So other than that, that's all.
Questions for Scott?
Mr. Mayor, I've got one for the good of the order, but go ahead. Gary's got one.
I don't, Dana, have you gotten any calls on Buddy Holly? The work that's gonna be done there? I've had a couple calls.
You mean on the upcoming project?
Yeah.
I was going to have Jason give an update on that, but what do you got on it?
I just want to know when it was gonna start
Oh.
and what's going on there.
Yep.
Because in our area down there, quite a few people
Oh, sure.
use that intersection.
Yep. Yeah, he can give you an update. You got anything?
Okay, I'll get it
to
in.
say more?
But it's on another matter, so I'll wait till, if
We have everything coordinated with the railroad that next Monday, so the 26th, they're gonna shut down Buddy Holly for about a week there from 8th to the highway, get the roadway narrowing done, and then city staff will take down one of the traffic signal lights at the same time to get that lined up. So, yeah. Starting next Monday.
Okay.
just had a couple of citizens approach me with a question that I thought this group ought to hear. They were curious as to why the yard waste site wasn't open on Sunday. And I guess I wasn't totally aware that it wasn't, but you know, they made the point that a lot of people work all week, and you know, maybe Sunday's the day they can clean their leaves up. So I thought I'd throw that out to the council and see what you gentlemen thought about, you know, if not this year, at least next year, reconsidering that concept, and maybe a few hours on Sunday afternoon to make that available for the citizens that want to haul their leaves. I'm fortunate enough as a retired person to be able to take mine anytime I want, and it's a very popular site. You can run across all kinds of people down there. But anyway, any thoughts on that?
I'd just add that, yeah, it is open Saturday 9 to 4, but on the Sunday, we are going to be getting a camera installed there, so the chief and Jeremy have been working on that. So that's always been kind of the biggest hesitation there, is if we can get the staff person to come in and do it. You know, so if we can, we could do that, but I think once we get that security camera installed, probably be more comfortable having it unmanned.
Yeah, well, whatever. I thought it was worth bringing up because it's a great service, and in my time on the council, I've seen as many improvements on that site as anywhere in town. It went from a place that was very frightening to a go-to because you didn't know if your car was going to come out in one piece, but and now it's all paved, and you know, it's just a pretty nice place if you can get in there.
Mm-hmm.
The Ben Furley Road has made a difference. Any other questions for Mr. Flory? Thank you, Scott. Any other business, council? Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.